Welcome to today's Explainer. You know, there's this massive misconception out there about how people actually get rich. We all see the headlines, right? The latest flashy tech startup or that 20-something influencer living in a mansion. But did you know that 47% of millionaires built their wealth through owning a business? And here's the kicker. Most of those businesses are absolutely not flashy brands. No way. They are unglamorous, everyday, completely boring services that just quietly compound cash flow month after month. So today, we're going to break down the exact models that have an incredibly high success rate, and we'll see why the absolute most reliable way to become a millionaire is actually by being incredibly boring. Okay, let's dive into this and look at our roadmap for today's Explainer. We're going to cover why boring is better, the 6 predictable wealth builders, the 3 success filters, how to stack to $1 million, and then finally, your action plan. All right, Section 1, why boring is better and escaping the startup hype. To really wrap our heads around this, I want to introduce you to Harry. Harry's a 32-year-old logistics worker, and he's just completely exhausted by the whole get-rich-quick grind we're all constantly bombarded with online. I mean, think about it. Everyone chases these trendy startups, right? They've got massive hype, ridiculously complicated marketing funnels, and totally uncertain timelines. But the reality? Most of them just die in their first few years. You're looking at a 90% failure rate. Now, contrast that with boring businesses. We're talking about things like laundromats, self-storage facilities, vending routes. These are simple, repeatable services, and the highest performing ones, they sit right up there in the 90% success range. It's just a staggering difference between chasing virality and relying on quiet, predictable cash flow. Now, you might be sitting there thinking you need some massive inheritance to buy one of these businesses, but consider this incredibly tiny number, $863. That was the entire balance of Harry's savings account at age 32. His net worth was basically a paid-off hatchback. He took home about $3,419 a month from his logistics day job. So as you can see, he started from a very humble, very normal beginning. And hey, it wasn't for lack of trying. Harry had tried literally all the exciting routes the internet tells you to try. He launched a dropshipping store that, wait for it, never made more than $97 in total profit. He went through the classic crypto phase and brilliantly turned $1,500 into just $412. He even started a clothing brand. That one left him with 3 boxes of unsold hoodies just sitting in his hallway. It was just exhausting trial and error, just a constant pattern of huge hype and zero predictable cash actually landing in his account. Then, late one night on the bus heading home, he stumbled across a summary of that classic book, The Millionaire Next Door. He realized real millionaires aren't influencers. They run dull, normal businesses. He read a piece of advice that just completely shifted his entire mindset. Be the boring owner of a necessary service and let time do the rest. And this brilliantly illustrates his whole shift. He stopped chasing clever branding right then and there and decided to make his life a literal experiment for this quote. Moving right along to Section 2, the 6 predictable wealth builders. This is the unsexy path to cash flow. So Harry spent the next 12 months going completely down the rabbit hole. He was reading entrepreneur forums, scouring local business listings, the whole shebang. And he found these exact 6 unsexy models just absolutely dominating real-world millionaire success stories. Laundromats, vending routes, self-storage, car washes, pest control, and property management. Notice something right away? None of these require brilliant, disruptive, change-the-world ideas. They don't. They just require relentless execution of a service people already know they need. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how Harry actually broke into this world. He scraped together $27,000, partly by selling that hatchback of his, as a down payment for an aging laundromat stuck in 1999. By month 6, after just raising prices by 23 cents and slapping on some card readers, his net cash flow was $2,189 a month. Then, he noticed people were buying snacks while waiting for their laundry, so he bought a vending machine for $2,371. He expanded that into a small route of 4 machines, moved one to a busy gym, and by month 12, he was clearing $2,413 a month. Finally, self-storage. He didn't even buy a whole facility. He partnered up with a contractor who had land but totally hated operations. Harry funded 31% of the build, ran the software, and by month 9, his share was bringing in $1,594 a month. Look at how quickly these micro wins escalate. Now, what about the other 3 businesses on our list? Well, car washes, pest control, and property management, they operate on those exact same unglamorous leverage principles.
Simple volume just scales beautifully. To put it into perspective, just 82 homes paying $59 a month for pest control brings in nearly $5,000 monthly from a single truck. Handling just 50 doors for landlords at $91 a month, that gets you $4,550. It's all about investing in equipment or a solid system once and then just letting volume do the heavy lifting for you. Which brings us to section 3, the 3 success filters. Let's decode the pattern here. So, we've seen the anecdotes, but let's break down the actual mechanics of why these specific businesses work so incredibly well. Think about it for a second. What actually connects a dingy laundromat, a metal box selling potato chips, and a concrete unit holding people's old couches? What do all these businesses actually have in common? Well, Harry realized they all pass 3 very strict filters. First up, customers pay at least monthly. This ties directly into human habits. Clothes get dirty, houses collect bugs, tenants stay. It's predictable. Second, the decision is low drama. I mean, nobody calls a massive family meeting to debate buying a $179 soda or a $12 car wash, right? The price slides totally under the emotional radar, which keeps your income incredibly stable. And third, over time, you actually own or control the asset, the washers, the land, the route itself. So if you want to replicate this success, you've got to stop asking what could go viral and start only looking for local businesses that perfectly fit these 3 rules. All right, section 4, stacking to $1 million, small wins leading to massive results. So the crucial point here is what happens when you zoom out. When we shift focus from the individual small checks to the macro picture of true wealth creation, a massive shift occurs. Before, Harry was fully reliant on his $3,419 a month logistics salary. But by stacking these mundane cash flows, the laundry, the vending, the storage, his little boring empire began bringing in over $6,000 a month after costs. This was the exact moment his stacked cash flow entirely eclipsed his 9-to-5 job. Incredible. Let's move on and see exactly how this builds over time. At age 32, his net worth was maybe $5,000. Year 1, he buys that aging laundromat. Year 2, he expands into vending and partners on the storage facility. By age 38, just 6 years later, his net worth crossed the $1 million mark. Think about that for a second. No single year felt explosive. There were 0 viral moments. Just a 6-year journey of slow, steady, compounding growth. So by age 38, with his loan nearly paid down, the laundromat's valuation sat at $341,000. His share of the storage facility was worth $271,000, and that little vending route, it could fetch around $89,000. Combined with retained earnings, he plowed into index funds and a simple home, he hit $1 million. These are actual wealth-building assets that most people completely ignore as they drive past them every single day. And finally, section 5, your action plan. Let's start your boring empire. All right, we've seen Harry's blueprint, and now it is time to build yours. Here is exactly how you can execute on this tonight. First, commit to spending just 1 quiet afternoon a week searching local physical business listings for sale. Second, ruthlessly filter every single listing you find through Harry's 3 rules. Is it monthly? Is it low drama? And do you own the asset? Third, you've got to stop underestimating tiny cash flow. Sure, $1,300 a month won't change your life overnight, but stacking it will change your entire direction. Finally, pick just 1 category that fits your city, like laundromats for dense areas or maybe pest control for suburbs, and write down 3 concrete moves you can make tomorrow. Just 3. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a slightly jarring question today. Can you stomach repetition? Because real wealth building isn't about the thrill of a startup launch. It just isn't. It is about walking past your own washing machines, your own storage units, week after week with relentless, boring discipline. If you can stop chasing the shiny trends and actually learn to love the repetition, you're already ahead of most people. Thanks so much for joining me on today's Explainer, and I'll see you next time.